All right, October 15th, 2020. Going to be changing the head gaskets on my 1994 Softail. Stand by. All right, first thing I'm going to do is drain the gas, and then I'll pull the gas tanks. Okay, we got the tank drained. We're going to pull the tank bib off and the dash off, and then the tanks are coming off. Okay. All right, the way this tank is going to come off is I got split tanks, so undo this bolt here for this tank. Let me get a light. And then there's a bolt right there, right where my finger's pointing. That's coming off. And this one right up here, that guy's coming off. Same thing on both sides, okay? That's what she's looking like so far. And get all this out the way. All that out the way. All of that out the way. Here's what we taking off. Nothing but a couple of tanks and dash. That's what little parts you have to take off to do that. Alright, so what I was doing up where you can't see, I guess I'll show you. What I was doing, what was out of focus, was I ran these jam nuts on my throttle cables. So the jam nuts are jammed like that. You'll see them on your bike. Anyway, break those loose, and by tightening this barrel nut, you're basically just shrinking the size, the length of your throttle cables. What that does is that gives you enough slack over here. And you do the same thing if you're, changing your grips. Gives you enough slack to get these throttle cables out. Okay. Same thing on the other side. Anyway, let me okay. Pretty good close up. All right. All right. So it's the S&S Super E carburetor. On the left side of the bike, I have to get that bolt and that one underneath to free up my carburetor. All right, and then I'm going to break these loose, these manifold bolts, and then on the right side there's 2 bolts opposite side of these. I'm going to take those completely out, and that'll allow me to slide out the manifold. Okay, so as I was saying earlier, this bolt and this bolt completely come out. On the opposite ends, you just break them loose. Left side, opposite side, these are just loose. See, because the flanges are slotted. So just gonna pop the VOES off. Okay. And pull my manifold out. Okay, there's what I took off. Air cleaner assembly, carburetor, manifold. There's what little parts, basically hardware that had to come off. That's what we're looking like so far. Next thing I'm pulling off is the motor mounts, and I've been wanting to reroute my, when I put it all together, I'm going to reroute those throttle cables. That's been bugging me the whole time. See how I keep getting pinched right there? Anyway. Alright, so in my one of my videos I showed, you would know if you watched it, I have adjustable push rods. When we do this tear down of the whole top end, I'm going to do it as if I did not have adjustable push rods. Okay, so we're doing it as if you have stock push rods. I'm going to pull the spark plugs out and get it on top dead center. I guess we'll start with the hard side, this side. Alright, I'm going to put the bike in high gear. Cover up the rear cylinders, spark plug. Oh. I'm just turning, there you go, until I feel pressure. So I know I'm coming up on compression stroke. get something. I'm just going to use an acid brush. Put it on top of the piston. Okay. There you go. That's TDC. Alright, so I'm going to bust these loose evenly. 1/4 bolts. I'm just going to crack them loose for now. Like that. Okay. Now I can back those all the way out with no problems. Top cover and gasket. Little center gasket. Like that. Put this up. Alright, thing we're gonna do, start busting these apart. Break the bolts in a crisscross pattern evenly. Once they're broken loose, you just back them all the way off. So these are the 4 rocker arm assembly bolts that I'm doing first. Okay. And there's three little 7/16. All right, so what I did earlier was I took the four 1/2-inch bolts right there off the rocker arm assembly. Now we're gonna go for the 7/16 right there, those three, and then there's two Allens on either side, one here and one over there. I had to pause and turn off the notifications on my phone. Otherwise, you'd keep hearing that ring, ring, like all through my damn videos. I got like 3 group texts on there. One's with a bunch of my rider buddies, one's my family, one's my workers, my co-workers, and between those 3, like non-stop mayhem. Anyway. So I'm going to break these loose, and then I'm going to do the Allens. I'm just going to put it on pause so you don't have to watch this boring stuff. Alright, so we got that all them bolts undone. I'm just going to lift this up. Get the push rods out. That's the intake. That's an exhaust. So you'll notice it's a minor adjustable, like I said, but I don't know if you can see that, but your exhaust push rod is going to be taller on your stock Harley push rods. Like I said, I left mine. I did it as if it's a stock takedown. And that's why I had to go on top dead center. I relieved all pressure, relieved tension off of my rockers. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Long one's exhaust, short one is intake. Put you on pause. I guess I should mention why your exhaust is longer than your intake. Another way to remember, other than exhaust is longer, intake is shorter on the push rods, is that if you just look here from this distance to this distance, it's a shorter travel than it is from here all the way up to there. Okay, that's how you'll know. Over here, you can guess just by looking at it which one probably has to travel farther. This is straight up and down. This one shoots at an angle, so that's going to be a longer travel. So that's your exhaust. Consequently, it's right next to your exhaust pipe. Come over here, here's the exhaust push rod, exhaust valve back there, and there's your exhaust pipe. All right. Okay, so now that I got the rods out the way, push rods I should say, you take the rocker box assembly off. I'm just looking at the cups on my rocker arms. Anyway, you put you on pause while I put this away. Just to give you an idea what it's looking like now with the full rocker box assemblies off. Right now you just have heads and cylinders. All of that's coming off. We're gonna do the same thing to the front side. And put you on pause while I prepare some stuff. All right, next thing I'm gonna do is unbolt the heads. One, 2, 3, and 4. Whatever pattern, as long as it's a crisscross pattern, even pattern. I'm gonna break them. I'm just gonna crack them, slowly crack them loose, and then pull them off all the way. So the center bolts, the inside bolts or nuts, however you want to look at them, because they're inside threads. They're longer. They're longer than the outside nuts or bolts, whatever you want to call them. All right, so I just realized I forgot to take my exhaust off. Duh. So that's coming off. Whoa. These are D&D low cats. I put those on I think like video, I don't know, 2, 3, or 4, something like that. Make sure I was still recording. Sometimes I do stuff and the camera's not even recording. I'm like, it's too late now. And there's the rear head. So I can't see the screen right now, but that is the head gasket, all burnt up. It's multi-layer metal head gasket. All right, so the good news is I don't see any pitting or degradation over here where the head gasket failed. That's what I was worried about. I caught it in time, and then we go over here. So I like to keep everything all together. This is all rear head, rear top end stuff. We're gonna look at this head. This is where the gasket was. And right there, I was saying right there, same thing. I don't see any pitting or degradation of this machine surface, so we're good. We'll check flatness later. And I think that's it for, oh, I'm gonna take the cylinders off. All right. So the cylinder's ready to come off, but what I am gonna do is I'm gonna clean up a little bit around it so I don't drop road dirt and a bunch of crap in the case. And then as I pull this out, as I lift this up, I'm gonna go ahead and cover up the bore. I'm gonna go ahead and cover up the bore with some rags, just to also help prevent crap from dropping down there. Okay, so I cleaned up around the base of this cylinder. I'm ready to pull it out. That's the other benefit of having this set at top dead center. Your piston is all the way up to the top, so as you're pulling the cylinder out, all of this crap, this carbon, has a less likelihood of dropping down into your crankcase. So right about there, is where I'm going to stop, and I'm going to put a rag in there. I'll do it with two hands, but I'm going to put a rag in there and protect this, cover up this bore, protect my case. All right. Okay, so I got my bore for my crankcase on the rear side protected with this rag. Got two rags stuffed in there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this stud and this stud off. I'll put them back in their same homes later. But the way I'm going to pull that off is with the 3/8/16. Damn it. Oh shit. So it's a good thing that's covered up. I just dropped a stainless steel nut and it landed right there. Probably bounced off my rags and landed right there. And if you don't know, stainless steel is not magnetic. So something like this, a magnet, a little extendo magnet for grabbing lost parts, wouldn't work on that stainless steel nut down there. It's not magnetic. So I'd have been screwed. So I'm going to put on pause, and then I have to turn off notifications on another group text so it won't interrupt my recording. So there you go. I got two 9/16 or 3/8/16 nuts on there. Two 9/16 wrenches, and this is how you're just going to jam them. You're just going to squeeze. Okay, so now those two are jammed together, and with a little look, I should be able to start backing this stud out by working this lower nut, just like that. Okay, so that's how that's going to work. All right. So that other stud, this stud was an absolute friggin' bear. So I gave up on it. I didn't want to force what didn't want to come, right? So I took this stud out. At this point, I should be able to pull my, let's see if I can do it with one hand. Oh yeah. Pull my cylinder out. Bam. Okay, so what you see here is everything with regards to pulling the rear top end. And here's the hardware. Not very much, right? That's it. So I'm going to rinse and repeat. Do the same thing to the front side.